As you guys know, storage is an essential part of any PC. But right now, drive prices are going up like crazy, just like RAM, and that makes building a gaming PC even harder. So that got me thinking, can you build a PC with no hard drive at all and still play games? Well, take a look at this. Right now, I'm playing Minecraft on a PC that has no hard drive installed, and somehow it's still running a fully functional operating system. Not just gaming, I can browse, watch videos, and do normal tasks without any problem. This method is especially useful for older PCs. The interface is super minimal, but it still comes with everything you need: a browser, media player, and basic tools. So how does this actually work? Let's find out in this video. Right now, if you try to build or even buy a custom storage with tens of terabytes, you're easily looking at well over $1,000. And yeah, that's expensive. So I started thinking, what if I could do something way more budget-friendly? With just $100, I challenged myself to build a NAS, network-attached, that could do more than just storage. I'm a system that can store files locally, work like a personal cloud, act as a media server, and even a game server for Minecraft. Now, obviously, this is a huge challenge. At this price point, things always go as planned. The results can be pretty unpredictable. But that's exactly what makes it interesting. So without wasting any more time, this is the story of how I built a $100 ultra-budget NAS server. There's a quick setup window for region, keyboard, resolution. I leave everything as default. On the right side, I can already see system stats like CPU usage, RAM, processes, and network speed. Super convenient. Now here's the real test. I unplug the USB, and somehow everything is still running. No storage, no USB, just pure RAM. That's honestly insane. This system is running on an Intel Core i5-4570 with 8 GB RAM. At idle, it shows around 1.4 GB used, but system tools report only about 350 megabytes. And here's why. The OS itself only uses approximately 350 megabytes, but since there's no storage, the rest is used as a RAM disk to hold the entire system and data. It's weird, but it makes perfect sense. Now looking around, the interface feels like a throwback to Windows XP/Windows 98. Very minimal, no fancy effects, just clean and functional. But don't let that fool you. It comes with File Manager, Terminal Browser, Firefox, Media Tools. I can browse the web, watch YouTube, and everything runs surprisingly smooth. Honestly, I'm impressed. A tiny OS like this, with this much functionality? That's wild. But now the real question is, can this no storage system actually handle games? By default, Puppy Linux comes with a few built-in games, but honestly, they're pretty basic, so I needed something more interesting. Puppy does include 2 package managers, but the app library is quite limited. So I went with the most reliable method, installing via Terminal Classic Linux style. More flexible, no limitations. Next, I installed Prism Launcher to run Minecraft. At first, it didn't work. Turns out I typed one wrong character, fixed it, and it ran perfectly. That's Linux 1 typo, and everything breaks. While downloading, you can actually see RAM usage increasing because all data is loaded directly into memory. When launching the game, processes used about 2.5 gigabytes. RAM total system usage reached around 4.3 gigabytes. RAM still fine for an 8 gigabyte system. In-game at 1080p with 8 chunks, Minecraft runs at around 60 FPS, which is honestly impressive for a system with no storage at all. Everything felt smooth, no major issues. I also tried Frozen Bubble, a classic bubble shooter. Super light, fun, and gives strong Windows XP nostalgia. There are plenty of other lightweight Linux games you can install as well, perfect for this kind of setup. If you want more, you can even install emulators like RetroArch to play retro games. NES, SNES, GBA, Sega. That's where Linux really shines. But here's the biggest downside. Everything disappears when you shut down. No storage means no persistence. Every boot is a fresh system. However, Puppy has a very unique feature, Remaster Puppy Classic. This lets you create your own custom version of the OS, with all apps and games pre-installed so you don't have to set everything up again every time. And honestly, that's what makes Puppy Linux truly special. Now it's time for the final move, remastering the entire system. Everything I've set up, all the games, configs, tweaks, will be packed back into the USB. From now on, I can plug this USB into any PC, and everything is ready to go. No hard drive needed. First, I check RAM usage. After installing and testing everything on Puppy Linux, the system is only using about 3.3 gigabytes total, including OS, apps, and data. That's very light for an 8 gigabyte system. To start remastering, I plug in the USB and open Remaster Classic. There are a few options here, but option 2 and 4 are required. They collect everything you've installed and compress it into a new SFS system file. Option 5 creates a full-I SO file useful for sharing or making more bootable USB. Then I hit OK, choose the USB as the save location, and start the process. Now, we just wait for it to finish. Done! And this is where things get really interesting. Inside my USB now, there's a brand new SFS file, a fully remastered version of Puppy Linux that includes everything I've installed and configured. From this point on, I can take this USB, plug it into almost any computer, boot it up, and instantly have my entire system ready to go. No hard drive, no setup, no reinstall as long as the machine has enough RAM. So, of course, I had to test it. I took this USB over to another PC, plugged it in, and booted into the remastered Puppy Linux. The big question, would everything still be there? Because this remastered version now includes more data. The boot time is slightly longer than usual. That's expected. The system has more to load into RAM. But after a short wait, we're in. Right after booting, I checked memory usage. The system was already using about 2.94 gigabytes of RAM. That confirms that all my previous data has been fully loaded into memory. Nothing is missing. Everything I had before is now part of this portable system. Time for the real test. I open the Fun section in the menu, and there they are, all the games I installed earlier, still intact. Next, I launch Prism Launcher. One click, and Minecraft fires up immediately. Perfect. At this point, everything works exactly as expected. No missing files, no errors, just a fully functional system running entirely from RAM. And honestly, that's kinda mind-blowing. From a PC with no hard drive at all, we've turned it into a fully capable entertainment machine. It can run games, browse the web, play media, all powered by just 8 gigabytes of RAM and a simple USB drive. So now the real question is, who is this actually for? First, it's perfect for people who love tinkering. If you enjoy customizing, experimenting, and building your own system from scratch, remastering Puppy Linux gives you full control. Second, it's an amazing solution for reviving old laptops or PCs. If the hard drive is dead but the CPU and RAM still work, this can bring the machine back to life instantly. Third, it's great as a rescue system. You can boot into it to recover data from broken systems, troubleshoot issues, or browse the web safely without touching the main OS. And beyond that, it's surprisingly versatile. You can use it for web browsing, light programming office work, media playback, or even turn it into a portable entertainment system that you can carry in your pocket. This experiment really changed how I think about operating systems. A system that runs entirely in RAM without any storage device sounds crazy at first, but in practice it's fast, efficient, and incredibly flexible. And honestly, that's what makes it so fun. So that's my experiment with Puppy Linux, a weird, lightweight OS that completely breaks the rules of how we normally use a computer. Now, I'm curious, do you know any other operating systems that are even more crazy than this? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this kind of content, Don't forget to like and subscribe for more tech experiments like this. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.